Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Katura King. My next guest is an agribusiness value chain expert whose primary focus is on food marketing and distribution. Ayodeji Rotimi is the founder of Hills Harvest Limited, a company which services local, national and international brands across various sectors. His company engages over 7,000 farmer groups by providing guaranteed access to market through outgrower contracts, improving their revenue as a result. Over time, Ayodeji has developed an impressive network, earning him an appointment as the partner to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development on the 300 billion naira National Homegrown School Feeding Programme. In charge of designing, developing and deploying sustainable and economically viable strategies to ensure engagement of 15 million farmers, 200,000 private extension workers and 100,000 agro-allied businesses, Ayodeji uses this project to provide food for over 24 million school-age children. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great, great. How are you?
I mean, exceptional is the word I think you're looking for with all those accomplishments. My word, how does one get involved in a 300 billion naira project? Let's start there.
Well, you don't get involved. You just do your work and you get a call and that you should be part of a program to get things done.
Right.
Yeah.
So explain the project to me in a bit more detail.
So basically, it's the federal government's homegrown school feeding program to feed 24 million kids, primary 1 to 3, out of school kids across the country. So to basically attract them to come to school for 200 days, school days in a year. Mm-hmm. In essence, is to ensure that the kids that roam the streets, that because lack of whatever social ills, they get attracted to school. Now, our part is to make sure that while they're in school, we get food to them every day for 200 days of the year. So that's where the farmer part comes in, and we have to ensure that up to 50 million farmers over the next 3 to 4 years are on the platform producing significantly for the kids.
Wow.
Every day.
What are some of the challenges that you face with this project?
Well, some of them. There's a ton of them. But because first of all, the agri industry, everybody knows, is not as structured as we would like this to be. And having such a program come on board when there's no much structure, so we have to start to build things from scratch. It's like changing the parts of a moving plane while in the air. So we have to.
That's a very difficult task.
Exactly. So we make things happen. We still have to make it work regardless because the kids have to eat. They have to be in school. And so some of them are trying to organize the farmers, and even things as simple as going to a rural setting and getting 5,000 farmers to open accounts. You'll be surprised how long it can take to do that because network connectivity, trying to organize them to assemble at the same time or over a period of time. So things as basic as just getting them to register is a big challenge, and with limited funding, you have to be creative with how you do things. So everything we do is based on creativity, is either with limited funding or no funding. So we always partner with private sectors or whatever is on ground, we work with it and make things work.
Wow, that is really commendable. What informed your choice to venture into the agribusiness sector?
Well, it seems like I've always been in the food business, probably for over the last 12 years. Not by my making, because I obviously have a knack for business, but while in the States, ran a food distribution or food delivery services. So it's something similar to, what is going on now that Amazon is getting into the food, online food, grocery and everything. So we did that about 10 years ago.
Okay, all right. Some fighting words.
So we did that about then, and that was in the States, and it was basically to supply food products to food delivery to college campus kids while in school. So you have your Burger King, McDonald's, and we did all that. And first year was a little challenging, but second year we did quite well. Yeah. And we got an offer to sell, and we sold the business.
Wow, you cashed out.
Well, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, sold it and moved back home.
Right.
Because the
What was
opportunity.
the company called? Not Deliveroo by any chance.
No, it was called eatsonwheels.com.
Wow.
Eats on Wheels. And funny thing is, the company we sold it to actually got bought over by a bigger company. So anyway, I could have probably gotten a lot more if I.
If you just held back, there's a lesson to be learned in here somewhere.
But anyway, I'm glad I'm home anyway.
So where has this passion for food come from? Because it's not new. This is something that you've been dealing with for the last, 2 decades, it sounds like.
Right. Well, to be honest, I don't like food that much.
What?
That's so I think it's the business, or it's more so the passion for trying to fix problems. Wherever there's a problem, as I say, somebody's willing to pay you for it, and I go and we like to do the hard things. So somebody will pay you more money for the hardest things.
Yeah.
So coming to Nigeria, realized everybody sees problems. I see opportunity to, make something happen, but not just make money, but actually develop the place, because if we don't fix it ourselves, nobody else will.
Absolutely.
So it's just been an innate thing to see opportunities and take advantage of it. And coming back to Nigeria, did a little bit of oil and gas, but that wasn't for me.
That's the standard
just start with that.
Nigerian job.
Yes, lost tons of money that I brought back, lost it. But then agriculture basically, it fell on my lap again, and I realized that this is an informal sector that we have a unique opportunity of making formal. And in our industry, we're probably just a handful that do what we do. And I think, not to be modest about it, but we are at the top of the line of what we do.
Yeah.
And we're probably the only private professional corporate entity that does what we do, that do what we do by getting the farmers directly and supplying to the hotels, restaurants, schools at quality and affordable pricing. Because in fact, we turn down customers.
You turn down customers?
Yeah, because...
What a great problem to have.
Well, we thank God for that, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you started out in food delivery.
Yes.
And currently the genre of what you do falls under food distribution and marketing.
Yes.
What is the difference between those two topics?
All right, so the food delivery business is what you have some of them doing it in Nigeria here. I won't mention names, but it's basically e-commerce based.
Right.
Now, I would have done that in Nigeria, but that wasn't ripe for it. I could easily understand because I'd done it, and Nigeria still had needed some time, to develop. So what we did was just move along the value chain upstream to get the food, because you can't deliver food when the food is not even there.
Yes.
So we needed to get the food directly from the farmers, make sure it's cheap and it's safe and it's preserved, because you hear across the country that a lot of food products are lost based on post-harvest losses and everything.
That's how our tomato crisis started in the north.
And it's significant. So it's among the different things. So our job is to make sure that we mitigate against that. So, but also doing that without increasing the food at your supermarkets, to making sure that it's cheap, because we should be able to get food products at affordable rate, because it's just the way the economy will grow.
Yeah. So it almost sounds kind of like farm to table, if you will.
Well, we try to as much close to table as much as close to the table we can get to, but we're more so of a B2B business. So the restaurant that you eat your food from, they either go to the open market and as such, but they will prefer a structured entity to supply them. So case in point, you never get to see, so we are like the distribution companies that supply the McDonald's. So you don't know where your food comes from.
Right.
But it comes from it comes from the farm somewhere, or Chipotle, but it gets to the store in bulk. You never see us, but we are the ones that supply the stores that you see.
Yeah. So in terms of the differences between the food markets in Nigeria and America, where you've come from, what would you say are the heightened differences that you notice?
The biggest part is structure. So you can plug and play, say you want to do the business today. If you get all your numbers right and your financing, you can get a business going. But here, even when you get everything right, you have to rely on other people across the value chain. Well, what we realized real quick was there were no other people. So it's either you do it yourself or you are going to be left in the open and it's going to affect your business. So as much as we don't like to do it, but we have to move back along the value chain to actually invest in different parts. So it seems like you're doing 4 or 5 businesses at once, but it's just to make sure you survive from your first one that you started with. And I'm sure it cuts across different industries. So
that sounds very stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful, but the thing also is the opportunities are tremendous if you know what you're doing. But for us, we're more than happy for where we are because there's a growth market and everybody eats and the population is growing. So we're hoping for more people to come on board so we don't have to do everything and other people can take advantage of the different value chain opportunities.
Now, the government, Nigerian government, has actually come out to say that, which I'm sure you very well know, that we're focusing on agriculture, diversifying the economy, if you will, and focusing on agriculture. As somebody that's actually based in the industry, are they?
Well, I will say one thing. They are. Sincerely, there is no government that wants this country to fail because food security is more important than anything else. If people don't eat, I don't care, nobody's going to vote, nobody's going to listen to police or anything. Food security comes first. Now, having good intentions and actually getting everything done is different. Those are 2 different things. They're trying their best, but the structure on ground is not the best. And it takes time to develop the structure. So from financing, from the infrastructure, from the warehousing, the transportation system, the access to finance, the people, just a whole bunch of things that needs to be put in place. So,
but even information, because if I wanted to become a farmer, I don't even know how to go about it.
Yeah, so exactly. So these are the little bits that we've started creating an ecosystem, working with different entities that we see, people call us every day, and we realize real quick that, you know what, we need to partner with people that are doing certain things in the industry and telling them, like, look, focus on what you're doing because we can direct business to you. So a lot of people call us and say, we need funding for certain things. We know where the funding is, but I can't walk you through that because I'm not the advisory person. But I know somebody else that can help you, not just startups can help do that. So we need as much help as possible because we can't do it alone. So the government is trying its best. Unfortunately, the structure, the pipeline to get things done is not there. And the government can't tell you that, hey, we have a challenge because the government has to always put the best foot forward.
They're supposed to have all the answers, not the questions.
But to be honest, we all have to get something done. We all have to help them and do our little bits within our own domain. That's the only way we're going to move things forward.
Now, research has shown that the median age for farmers in Nigeria is between 55 to 75 years old. Where are the youth?
Well,
that sounds like a state of emergency to me.
Well, definitely so. Well, they're here. You're here.
This is my point. So how do I become a farmer if I want to? We don't even have access to the information.
Now, and that's one big thing. First of all, most young people, we're trained to go to school to get a white-collar job. And agriculture, the information has not been so clear or agriculture has not been sold to be so sexy enough to where a young person wants to get into farming.
Absolutely.
So now, what has happened was from our own point of view and even personally, our business, we've said, look, we know very well much around the value chain. We do not have professionals in the industry, and what we're trying to do is to, as my friend, the African farmer will say, green-collar jobs, where you can be an extension officer. I mean, we have a program we're setting up that within 3 months you can earn $1 million.
Wow.
I don't think you can earn on the bank or other places. And you don't have to till the soil or anything like that. You provide information to the rural communities and stuff. And you can be a tractor leasing business. There's a lot of things that you can do without having to do the drudgery of
Actual manual labor.
Yeah, nobody does that anymore. I don't do manual labor. I mean, it makes no sense.
So we won't catch you on the farm tilling the soil.
No, I shouldn't. I should have a tractor doing that because it costs me money to have people manually doing that. So I will not make money if I have to do that. But unfortunately, all this costs money. A tractor now is between 15 and 25 million. I mean, that's probably more than any luxurious car as such. So, but we're trying our best to work with what we have, and because we just have to keep moving forward. So from our own, and there are other entities across the country too that are just as passionate and trying to promote young people into agriculture. Everybody's doing their bit. Our job is to say, look, where can we help you with something, and where can... Eventually, over the next couple of years, things will start to take shape. Because one thing I've realized also in Nigeria is, once one person makes it and they see that path, everybody follows it. So likewise, hence why we try to showcase ourselves and what we're doing, because most of the time we're usually very private and being on the farm, but something has to give. We have to speak about the good parts of agriculture, and we have to get it going. So we'll get there. The young people will come on board soon.
You know, it's interesting that you're speaking about all of this, because we don't have an ecosystem at all. In fact, we can't even manufacture our own cutlasses. We import them from Ghana. Why is this the case?
Well, just like everything else, and most things, the easiest thing everybody pick is the toothpicks and everything. So if you can't get toothpick, then cutlasses and hoes is a lot bigger thing. So it's just, I think also it's about information. It's about getting a clear-cut path. There's a lot of money for investment in the country. But if you don't know who's going to buy, okay, so if I tell you now, make me 1 million cutlasses, I'll buy from you. You're sure to go invest in it, whether you like cutlasses or not. But nobody knows that. Nobody has compiled that information. Exactly. So a lot of information is fragmented. The needs are fragmented. I only found out like about 3 years ago when I told our farm hands to go get some manual tools, and they told me the Ghanaians have not brought them. And I'm like, what? Yeah, they said, so some people here and there have, but I'm sure by the time I speak with the welders and the fabricators, they tell you the challenges too, like, well, they don't have, the raw materials imported because probably our steel is imported. So you start to see the whole big issue. There's a wealth of information, there's a wealth of business to be done, but every information in the ecosystem needs to be structured, and everybody needs to see the opportunity. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
When are we going to get there? When do you think? When do you think we are going to get to the point that we can actually feed ourselves successfully without any outside help?
So the real truth is this: as I tell people that agriculture goes by a different timeline. So short term in agric is about 5 years. Medium term, 10 or 15. Long term, 30 to 40. Now, if we can all accept that, I know that, look, we have to start planning for this timelines. It would help us fund things appropriately. How many young people nowadays can you get to tell them that, well, come and do this business and within 2 years you'll make profit? Nah, everybody wants their money in 4 months, 2 months, 3 months. Agric doesn't work that way. Even though people will say vegetables, you can get them within 3 months and everything. But before you get it right, it's probably going to take you 2 years because you're going to lose money and try and error and everything as such. So the first thing is let us understand the timelines and work towards that. There is no quick fix. There is no, as my people in the government will say, low-hanging fruit. You know, because the thing is, the politicians have their timelines. They have 4 years. So something has to happen because, you know, but food can't fly off the ground. So that's a dichotomy between both parties. Politicians have 4 years. As I said, minimum short term in agri, you need 5 years to just even see have we done okay and continuous funding. So if you look at the politicians and the young people, we are the ones that have time on our hands. So we have to start getting the work down now because within, I can't be 100% accurate, but within the next 30 years or so, we'll be the 4th highest population in the world. We can't even feed ourselves now. So
much less than, wow.
So we have to go in doing a lot quick.
Scary thoughts to end on.
I hope I didn't scare anybody.
I mean, I'm terrified now. But how can my viewers contact you via social media? If anyone's interested in becoming a farmer and wants some information from you, how can they get in touch with you?
Hills Harvest NG on Twitter. That's the primary way to do that. Hills Harvest NG at Hills Harvest NG. On Twitter.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
I will see you later on in the show.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Time now for a short break on the morning show, but stay tuned as when we return, it's time for Our Take.